All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to my other apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the hopeful members of the elect, the Bacharim, the house of David, that has been preordained, predestined to get delivered in these last and times, and to be the ruling governing body of the nation of Yasha'Allah. So I want to go into a lesson on the Greek Empire, okay? And as you can see on my screen, hopefully you can see it, all right? I have on Wikipedia ancient Greece, okay? Now it says ancient Greece was a northeastern Mediterranean civilization existing from the Greek Dark Ages of the 12th and 9th centuries BC to the end of classical antiquity 600 AD, that comprised a loose collection of culturally and linguistically related city-states and other territories. Most of these regions were officially unified only once for 13 years under Alexander the Great's empire from 336 to 323 BC. All right, and that's who we're going to focus on, all right? Alexander the Great and the Greek Empire, okay, was started by the Edomites. That's their true biblical name, all right? They took on the customs of the Greeks, which are really Japhetic, but this is where Esau's power started to come in, okay, starting with the Greek Empire. So before I get into this, I'm gonna get the scripture, all right? This is like the beginning of Esau coming to power, the beginning of Esau's rulership, okay? This is Genesis 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And Esau is still in power today, all right? Under what? The Roman Empire, revived all over again, because he came back into power during the Renaissance, okay? So it's the Greco-Roman Empire revived all over again, all right? You still have Greek architect in some states and cities, all right? Greek gods, you see, that are still being worshipped and acknowledged in this kingdom, okay? And Esau is the self-proclaimed white man. Okay, that's who Esau is, the Edomites. The Edomites are the self-proclaimed white man, or white people, or Caucasians. And Jacob, the twin brother Esau, whose name was changed later to Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew, meaning, he is a prince of the power, Israel, okay, which consists of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and we have also been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? So we're also going to look like other nations, but we are God's chosen people. Yahweh is the one true power, all right, the heavenly Father, Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. His true name is Yahweh Shai, who look like so-called Negroes, by the way, okay? Now, this is when Esau's blessing started to come in play, if you will, all right? Starting with the Greek Empire. And who established that? Alexander the Great. And it says Alexander the Third of Macedon, okay, born somewhere in July 20th or 21st, researchers say, 356 BC, and died on around June 10th or 11th, 323 BC, okay? Was a king of the ancient Greek kingdom. It's like it was a king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon, all right? He succeeded his father Philip II to the throne in 336 BC at the age of 20, and spent most of his ruling years conducting a lengthy military campaign throughout Western Asia and Egypt, all right? And if we continue down, it says, and back in Genesis, the 27th chapter, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And that's how Esau was conquering with his sword. That's his blessing. Okay. And Alexander the Great was a mighty warrior. Okay. It says throughout Western Asia and Egypt, all right, he was doing military campaigns throughout those regions. By the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Greece to northwestern India. He was undefeated in battle and is widely considered to be one of history's greatest and most successful military commanders. Okay, a few little facts about him. Until the age of 16, Alexander was tutored by Aristotle, which was an Israelite. Okay, and, Aristotle was an Israelite. Okay, in 335 BC, shortly after his assumption of kingship over Macedon, he campaigned in the Balkans and reasserted control over Thrace and Illyria before marching on the city of Thebes, which was subsequently destroyed in battle. Okay, Alexander then led the length of Corinth and used his authority to launch the Pan-Hellenic project envisaged by his father, assuming leadership over all Greeks in their conquest of Persia, right? Because we go to Daniel, the 7th chapter, all right? The empire before the Greek Empire was the Medo-Persians, okay? And that's who King Alexander defeated. Daniel 7 verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. All right, the 3 the 3 ribs in that bear's mouth are the 3 wars, the war in Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. Okay. It says, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Now, this is the Greek Empire coming in afterwards. All right. Verse 6. After this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. And that leopard is who? All right. Alexander. And he did wear a leopard's skin type of hat, okay, on his head. All right. So the bear was the Medo-Persians. And after that, next was the Greek Empire. Okay. It says, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, the 4 wings and 4 heads, which is the same thing, are the 4 generals. Okay, because King Alexander only had a 12-year reign, and then he died. You see, he established the Greek Empire around 335 BC and died around 323 BC. You see, the 4 generals are Ptolemy, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Cassander. All right. Now let's get in the book of Maccabees. All right, First Maccabees. Okay, because it tells you the history of the Greek Empire. It says First Maccabees 1, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian. That's how you know the scriptures are authentic. All right, it contains historical events. Who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him. So he was conquering, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. And those are the 4 generals. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died, and his servants bear rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. Evils are multiplied in the earth, and that's when evils was multiplied upon the earth. All right, and one particular lineage that came out of the Seleucus line, Antiochus or Antiochus, put hell on our people. Okay, now I want to get the four generals. See if I can find or show you a map of the regions they ruled. Okay, or willing can show. They say Antigonus, but he had a very short rule. Okay, who placed him was Lysimachus. All right. And Ptolemy came into power around 305 BC. He ruled Egypt. All right. Lysimachus ruled Thrace, Asia Minor, and Macedon around 306 BC. Seleucus, Asia Minor, Syria, Mesopotamia. All right. The Iranian plateau around 305 BC. So he had the largest portion of King Alexander's kingdom. All right. He had the largest regions, all right, out of that kingdom. And the two main ones are Seleucus and Ptolemy. Okay. And this is where the whole Hellenistic period came into. All right. The whole Hellenization. All right, which I'm gonna get that the definition of Hellenization. Actually, I have it in my notes, but I'll also show it on my screen. Just bear me for 1 second. Matter of fact, actually, just show it on here. All right. So Hellenization or Hellenism is the adoption of Greek culture, religion, language, and identity by non-Greeks, right? You see, and Seleucus, he was putting holy hell on our people, or we had to practice the Greek customs, and we were forced to eat pork. Actually, tells you that, all right, in First Maccabees. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, here it is. In verse 41 of First Maccabees, the first chapter. Moreover, King Antiochus, who came out of the Seleucus lineage, wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of cleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And that's what Esau is really trying to do today, all right? Making Israel, the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, go off, all right? Follow his laws, his customs, you see? And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die, you see? So it was actually a law that if you didn't follow these customs of the Greek, if you didn't follow the Greek customs, you were sentenced to death, all right? And there's a few examples, all right, where it showed that where the Israelite women were circumcising their children still, and they were caught, man, they would hang the babies, Esau is just a vile, wicked person, and he has a lot to pay for. You know, he has a lot to pay for. It says, I'm gonna keep reading it. Verse 51, in the same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. And many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. You see? So, they were being Hellenized, worshiping Greek gods. All right. You see, and that's why if you go into the New Testament, all right, it says what? There's no. Actually, let me get that real Right, in Galatians, because you had Israelites scattered, right? You had Israelite foreigners, you had Israelites living in Greece, practicing the Greek customs, all right? So when it says right here, I'm gonna get the King James Version. Why it's going slow? It says, this is Galatians 3, verse 28, by the way. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is neither male nor female, for all are one in Hamashiach Yahushua. And Christians try to use like, see, the Lord's for everybody. No, when it says Greek, it's really talking about the Israelite foreigners. All right, the Israelites who are living in Greece, that practice the Greek customs, who identify themselves as Greek, but truly they were Israelites, because you are what your father is. You can't change your identity or nationality. It's a bloodline thing, you see. All right, so if we go back to, I want to get those regions. Let me see if I can get those regions. Okay, beautiful. All right, shows you right here the 4 regions. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, as you can see, Cassander. All right, over here in parts of Greece, Lysimachus, some parts of Greece. All right, you can see some parts of Greece, but more so the Asia Minor. Okay, as it says, Lysimachus had Asia Minor, Thrace and Macedon, which is also part of Greece, as you can see right here. And Cassander had ruled Macedonia from 305 to 297 BC. All right, his father was Antipater. Okay. All right, and Macedonia is in southern Greece. All right. Well, his wife was Thessaloniki, and he actually named Thessalonica after his wife, which was King Alexander's sister. All right, so that was in southern Greece, all right, around this area right here. So you can see my little mouse. And then Seleucus had the biggest portion. Okay, he had, remember, Asia Minor, some parts, Syria, Mesopotamia, and the Iranian plateau. All right, 305 BC is when he came to power. And then Ptolemy had Egypt. Okay, again, he ruled starting at 305 BC. Okay, and the whole Hellenization was started, with these, of course, with these 4 generals, because when King Alexander was in rulership, he didn't force those customs onto our people. We were just tributaries, all right? You see? But when these 4 generals came, that's when they pushed that whole Hellenization, mainly through these 2, Seleucus and Ptolemy. And they were warring with each other, actually. All right, they warred with each other, Even says that in going back in First Maccabees, the first chapter, okay, how it says in verse 18, it says, actually I'll start at verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus or Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Remember, he came out of the Seleucus line, all right? So he wanted this part. He wanted Ptolemy's realm, where he got greedy. And it says that he might have, verse 17, wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof. Okay? And the table, the shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures, which he found. Because remember, we were just tributaries. But then when he came in, he started to force that whole Hellenization, the Greek customs upon our people. Okay. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. All right. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Therefore there was a great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were, man. Okay, and of course, later throughout the chapters, you read the Lord raised up Mattathias of the Maccabees, all right, and his sons. And they started to defend us, all right, and thus bring back our customs again. Okay. You know, you read about Judah's Maccabees, all right. So let me see. We can go back to. See, Salaki, bear me for 1 second. We can actually go to Daniel's the 8th chapter, verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. All right, those 4 generals. All right, that he-goat is King Alexander. Okay, the notable ones, the notable horns, or the notable ones, I should say, Slaki, the notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven were the 4 generals. Okay, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, that's Antiochus, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, which is Israel. And it waxed great even to the hosts of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and some of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Okay, put in hell on our people. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the hosts, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of the sanctuary was cast down. All right, and that's when the whole Hellenization period started. Okay. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Okay. Let me see. This is still Salakia. Just checking it. Okay. So we can go back to Daniel's 7th chapter. All right. Well, that was mainly it. That was actually it. Okay. Just looking at my notes. All right, just looking at my notes. Oh yeah, that was basically it. You know, the Greek Empire. All right. You know, kind of got through it quickly. All right, kind of got through it quickly, but yeah, you know, that's the lesson on the Greek Empire. All right, the regions of the 4 generals. All right, got into the whole Hellenization period. Okay, you know, out of the Seleucid lineage, Antiochus was the one who was Hellenizing our people. All right, also Ptolemy, but more so Antiochus was Hellenizing and putting hell on our people. All right, you see. show you the regions of where they ruled. Okay. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash, divine honor, some other apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to hopeful members elect. Shalom.